Hello, everyone. My name is Tara, and welcome to Aligning to Love. In this channel, I aim to spread hope, joy, peace, and love to the world by sharing goodness and love within my life. In this video, I'm going to be talking more about health, well-being, and healing. And I did just want to give some of my life bubble updates and then go on to the health, well-being, and healing part. And I will comment in my video where the minutes start, where I start talking about the health aspect. So if you want to directly skip to that, feel free to do so. So I'm sorry I was not able to get a video up by Friday. My family and I were traveling to my parents for the Easter holiday, and so I don't actually have any of my books on inspirational people that I have to share, but I do have things that are in my home, my childhood home, that I wanted to share, and things that I just always looked at and just admired when I was growing up. So the first one is my mom's poem that she has, and it's by Dorothy Law Nolt. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but the poem is called Children Learn What They Live. And this poem is very near and dear to me, and I think it has a lot to do with how people are able to heal and process things in their life. And I think a lot of how we live has to do with how we are raised and the environment that we were growing up in. And if you're fortunate to have grown up in an environment that was supportive and encouraging and let you be truly who you are, as long as that didn't hurt the way other people chose to live, I think that we are, and I include myself in that portion of people, are very fortunate. But there's many people all over the world that did not have that opportunity, and they're having more self healing and work to do because of their beginning. And I think that's a very strong and it takes a lot of dedication. And it's a wonderful thing to be able to do for yourself and for your life. So the poem is called Children Learn What They Live. If a child lives with criticism, he learns to condemn. If a child lives with hostility, he learns to fight. If a child lives with ridicule, he learns to be shy. If a child lives with shame, he learns to feel guilty. If a child lives with tolerance, he learns to be patient. If a child lives with encouragement, he learns confidence. If a child lives with praise, he learns to appreciate. If a child lives with fairness, he learns justice. If a child lives with security, he learns to have faith. If a child lives with approval, he learns to like himself. If a child lives with acceptance and friendship, he learns to find love in the world. And again, this is by Dorothy Law Nolt. I'm not sure if that L is silent or not, but her last name is spelled Nolte. And this was always hanging up in my mom's house, my mom and dad's house, but in my mom's hallway to her bedroom and my dad's bedroom. And I always loved this. And my parents had always been very intentional with how they wanted to have a family and raise a family because they had waited so long to have one. My dad was an elementary school teacher for 19 years, and my mom was a high school business teacher for 15 or 16 years. And they were not able to have children biologically, and that's how our family got created, by my parents adopting me and my brother. And they had always been very intentional and very aware of what they wanted their family life to be like. And I just count my blessings every day that they were my parents and they gave me the environment to be who I wanted to be and gave me the encouragement and the acceptance to love myself for who I am, and my brother the same. And I think that's so important for healing. And there's so many people who are not able to truly be who they want to be and feel like they're going to be accepted. And in our family, as long as you're not hurting anyone else's way of life, in a negative way or in a self-harming way, or making them feel emotionally um, unwanted, or even worse, then that is fine. As long as you're being genuine to yourself and you're being loving to yourself and others, then my parents are going to accept you. And I just think with the theme of the videos I've been putting out with health and well-being and healing, a big portion of that is to be able to accept and love yourself. Love your body, love your mind, and love your heart and the character that you are. And I really think that those are the foundational aspects of humans and of babies and children. If they cannot love themselves fully and completely, then it's going to be very hard to build upon that, because that's their foundation of life. And it's only going to be more challenging as they become teenagers and adults, if they're not secure and accepting of themselves. And I think we see that in a large part of the world that we're living in and the lives that we see around us. So much more peace and support would be given. I think if more people had that self acceptance and loving within themselves, because I don't know what quote it is or who says it, but it's the one that says you'll never be able to love someone else if you cannot love yourself, or something along those lines. And I fully agree with that. I guess I'm going kind of out of order, because usually I do my life updates before I do the piece about health and well-being. But in this video, I think they really go hand in hand. And my brother just shared with me, because I was able to see my brother, and he spent some time with my parents last night while my husband and daughter were over here. And he said that he ran into family friends of ours from when we were children. And unfortunately, that couple, her husband was going in for back surgery. And these were a couple that were our safety net when we were children. If my parents had to work later, if they had an emergency to go to, we would be with this family and their children. And their children were like our best friends growing up. And, as you age and as you start your own lives, you move away, and sometimes you become less connected. And that's definitely what happened with us. And I don't see them that often. Maybe I see them once a year, but my brother is able to bump into them more often. And so she was saying to my brother that her husband just went in for back surgery. And when he woke up and he was coming around to being more conscious, he just kept saying, "It's Tara's birthday, it's Tara's birthday." And I haven't seen him in years, maybe since my wedding. Maybe I saw them last year, but it's been a long time. And she was telling my brother that she was so shocked that that was the first thing that came out of his mouth, because we haven't seen each other in so long. And that just warmed my heart when I heard about that, because they were significant parts of my childhood and my brother's childhood. And the fact that we hadn't seen them in years, and he was still had us on his mind, it was just really loving and heartwarming. And it was probably because he also had a birthday very close to mine. It was either the day before or the day after, and so that probably helped him think about that. But it was really funny that that's what came to his mind when he woke up from surgery. And I do hope that he's feeling better and that he heals quickly. And another thing that I wanted to talk about in this video that I feel all connects into the whole health and well-being and healing aspect And I do think a lot of it stems back from childhood. And I wanted to share one more thing. It's in my childhood home in my room. This was made for me by a neighbor that I had growing up on the lake. And these neighbors were so special to me, just like the ones I just talked about. And she was a grandmother. And in my childhood, I knew her husband, which was the grandfather. And their whole generation of family shared a lake house, and all of their family would go there over the summer, and my brother and my parents, we would all hang out with them. Same with the couple I had just talked to you about. We were all neighbors, the three of our families, and so we got to spend so much quality time together, all of our kids, my brother and I, and the couple I just told you about, their kids, and then the grandkids of this woman who made this for me. We all spent our summers together. And when I think back, when I see this object, I think back about all those long, wonderful summers. And when you're a kid, summer feels like it just goes on and on and on. And I was so fortunate to have summer days with swimming and biking and picnicking and just having those just mellow, easy breezy summer days with great people who loved and supported everyone in the neighborhood. And so this woman, these flowers, I got this when I was around 8, maybe 9 or 10. I was between 8 to 10, and I just thought it was so beautiful. And I still have it, and I'm 37 right now. And she made this for me, and I'm like, wow, she gave this to me, and she didn't even give this to her grandsons. And so I just felt so special. And I'm still in touch with them, but they don't live in state. And so it does take more work to try to see each other and try to stay connected. But this piece really just, if ever I'm having a bad day, or if I'm just not feeling my best, if I'm sick, this piece, bringing it back to the health and well-being and healing, I can just think about my childhood and how fortunate I was and the people in my lives that made me who I am today. And it's so special. And I'm just so appreciative and so thankful that I've had that opportunity and those experiences. And now being back in my childhood house with my own daughter and having her get the experiences of my parents as her grandparents, it's such a wonderful life, just the circle of life, and it's fantastic. And not every family gets to experience that. And I knew growing up how important and how lucky my friend was to have not only his parents at their cottage for the summer, but his grandparents and his aunt and uncle. And I knew that family was just so important to them. And I do think a lot of our health and well-being and healing is so strengthened by friends and family. And it is proven that if you have people close by, if you're social, if you feel like you have those supports, you do remain healthier because you are loved, and you see the people in your lives that are willing to take care of you if you need it, or support you if you're sick, or in any types of emergencies. And I know even in our adult life, not everyone has those options and has that ability to have people close by or to have those connections throughout their lives. And that's why I also think it's so important that we pick our friends wisely, and so that we can lean on those friends and they can basically become our family. And so that's just the message I wanted to share today. And I just wanted to wish everyone, if you celebrate it, happy Easter. If you don't celebrate it, I just hope everyone has some way to be relaxed, some way to find peace, even if it's thinking back on old memories that bring you happiness and joy. And I hope everyone is taking care And I love you all. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye.